Hello and welcome back to Little Learner's Story Time. While I am reading to you, can you keep your imaginations blooming? Okay, let's get started. Ram and Sita, the story of Diwali, written by Maliki Doyle and illustrated by Christopher Kaur. This story is about one of the big and important festival of India called Diwali. Through this story, the author is trying to explain the reason behind celebrating Diwali to his readers. This happened thousands of years ago in India, and its main characters are Ram and Sita. So let's read it together. Prince Ram was a great warrior, and he had a beautiful wife named Sita. Ram's stepmother did not want him to become king, for she hoped her own son would be king instead. To get rid of Ram, she tricked the young prince's father into sending him away to the forest. So Ram and Sita went to live there in a tiny cottage. Life was peaceful until the day that Sita was spotted by the demon king Ravan. Ravan had 20 arms and 10 heads. He had eyes as red as the brightest fire and teeth as sharp as daggers. "A beautiful princess," he hissed. "I shall make her my wife." The next day, as Ram and Sita were out fetching water, they saw a deer. "Could you catch it for me?" Sita asked her husband. "I would like to keep it as a pet." But the deer was a trick sent by the wicked demon. For as soon as Ram had gone deeper into the forest, chasing it, Ravan swooped down on Sita. He swept her away and away over the treetops. Sita was terrified, but she knew that she must leave a trail for her husband to follow. So she pulled off her golden anklet and threw it to the ground below her. Then she tossed down her earrings one after the other, and lastly she removed her shiny scarf. Below her in a tree, a little white monkey looked up and saw her jewels falling. "The stars are falling from the sky," he thought. At last, Ram caught up with the magical deer, but as soon as he touched it, the animal changed into a demon and took off into the air. "It was all trick," cried the prince. He rushed back to the cottage, but his beautiful wife was nowhere to be seen. "The demons have taken Sita," he moaned. "If it is the last thing I do in this life, I shall find her." He started to look for her. Deeper and deeper he went into the very heart of the forest until at last he saw something sparkle in the leaves. "Sita's golden anklet," he cried. "An earring," he gasped. A moment later, and another. A little further on, he caught sight of something bright fluttering in the trees. "Sita's scarf," he exclaimed. "The one I gave her on the day we were married." Suddenly, there before him was the little white monkey. He was Hanuman, the monkey king. He led Ram to a great cave under a hill. Hanuman had sent word to all the monkeys in the world that they must gather there. "The demon Ravan had stolen Sita," cried Hanuman. "Ram and his wife are friends to the animals. We must find her." So the monkeys went off in every direction. They searched the forest, the mountains, and the plain. At last, Hanuman's group came to the edge of the land. There, far out to sea, stood an island, and as soon as the Monkey King saw it, he knew that Sita was there. The island was surrounded by a massive rock and stormy seas, and the other monkeys could see no way to get ashore. But Hanuman was the son of the wind god. He climbed to the top of a hill, sucked in wind all around him, then leapt out over the crashing waves. The Monkey King landed on the island and soon found Sita near the palace of the evil demon. No, he heard her cry, I will not marry you, Ravan. It is Ram alone that I love. When Sita saw Hanuman, she knew straight away why he had come. Catch, she cried, tossing him a pearl from her hair. Take this to my husband to show him that I am still alive. Rama was overjoyed at the news. Hanuman called all the monkeys to gather at the shore. But the waves were growing even bigger and they could see no way to get across. Build a bridge, ordered the Monkey King. So they gathered rocks and grass, sand and soil. They mixed them all together and built a giant bridge all the way from the shore to the island. Then they marched across and the terrible battle with the demons began. I have come to rescue my wife, shouted Ram, when at last he made it through to the palace. You will have to kill me first, cried the Demon King. With a mighty swing of his sword, Ram sliced off one of his heads. But to his horror, another one grew in its place. Again and again Ram chopped, and again Ravan's head reappeared. His sword could do nothing, so Ram raised his bow. The gods of fire and wind guided the arrow, and in a burst of flame, it pierced Ravan's chest, killing him stone dead. Ram went to Sita, locked away in the depth of the palace. They hugged each other warmly, then came out and called a halt to the battle. After thanking Hanuman and the monkeys, Ram and Sita returned to their own country to rule as king and queen. The gods threw flowers from the sky. The people lined the streets with flags, and in every house, an oil lamp was put in the windows to welcome them home. They ruled happily and well for many years until it was the time for them to leave this life on earth and return to heaven. And that is the story of Ram and Sita. It shows us how goodness and truth can win over evil. And that is the story of Ram and Sita. It shows us how goodness and truth can win over evil, as one little oil lamp can brighten the darkest of the nights. And every year at the festival of Diwali, Hindu people light small oil lamps or diyas inside their homes to remember. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I wish you all a very happy Diwali.
To read more books like this, check the playlist link in the description below. And if you click the bell icon and the subscribe button, you will get all the updates to all my new videos. Keep reading and see you soon.